Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders are heading into their first joint practice and preseason showdown against the New England Patriots. And while there's plenty of excitement surrounding the trip, a few notable absences have sparked conversations among fans. Head coach Dan Quinn was quick to downplay any panic, reminding everyone that injuries right now are minor and precautionary. Still, it's never ideal when key names are missing valuable reps, especially in a preseason setting where roster spots and starting positions can be decided by the smallest of details. Missing players may not be alarming in August, but for young guys on the edge, every snap counts. This trip to Foxborough was supposed to be a real measuring stick for the Commanders. Younger depth, especially with the Patriots known for intense joint practices. Instead, a few of those promising second-year players are sidelined, and even though Quinn assures us it's all minor, fans can't help but wonder what the long-term impact might be if those absences stretch out. One of the bigger surprises from the injury report was Brandon Coleman, the promising young offensive lineman who had recently begun transitioning to the guard position. Coleman had shown flashes during camp, and with Washington's offensive line still very much a work in progress, his development could be key to the unit's future. Unfortunately, after tweaking his leg during Saturday's practice, he is now sidelined indefinitely. He hasn't practiced since, and while no one's ringing alarm bells just yet, there's still no clear timetable for his return. Offensive line success relies heavily on chemistry, communication, and consistency. Three things you simply can't simulate without reps. The longer Coleman is out, the harder it becomes for that front five to gel. Coach Quinn remains optimistic, calling it a short-term issue, but the fact he didn't make the trip is telling. We'll have to wait and see if next week brings better news for Coleman's progression and return. When Quinn talks about player development, he always emphasizes that the second year is where real growth happens. That's why it stings to see both Jordan McGee and Javonte Jean-Baptiste missing time this week. These two were among the standouts of training camp, earning praise from coaches and fans alike. McGee in particular has had a rough start to his NFL journey, battling injuries during his rookie year. He was just starting to look like a contributor in this defense, someone who could find a niche in the linebacker rotation. Now, with another setback, even if it's deemed minor, it throws a wrench into that momentum. Jean-Baptiste, on the other hand, had a strong offseason and was starting to show why the team invested in his potential. Missing the joint practices and preseason opener hurts for both players, not only in terms of growth, but improving their value to the roster. Every rep matters at this stage. It's not just the young players who are out, though. A few veterans didn't make the trip either, including quarterback Marcus Mariota and wide receiver Noah Brown. In both cases, the Commanders are clearly playing it safe, protecting players with minor ailments rather than risking anything in early August. Mariota's absence opens the door for backup QBs Josh Johnson and Sam Hartman to get extended reps, and that's where preseason games can be golden. These reps may feel meaningless to outsiders, but they're everything to players on the bubble. Brown's absence means more snaps for wideouts like Chris Moore, KJ Osborne, and Ja'Cory Brooks, all of whom are fighting for a final roster spot. This week could make or break those dreams. And while some fans may worry about the absence of veterans, it actually gives the coaching staff a clearer view of the depth chart and how these bubble guys perform in a game setting against real competition. Now, of course, the name everyone always asks about is Terry McLaurin. Did he make the trip? The answer is no, but not because of a new injury or concern. It's simply protocol. McLaurin, along with offensive lineman Sam Cosmi, remains on the physically unable to perform PUP list, and players in that status don't travel for joint practices or preseason games. While it's disappointing for fans hoping to see Scary Terry in action, this isn't anything to stress over. The team is just taking its time with his recovery, and the fact that they haven't removed him from the PUP list means they're playing the long game here. There's still plenty of time before week 1, and having him 100% healthy by then is all that matters. McLaurin's absence does, however, offer a massive opportunity for other receivers on the depth chart to step into the spotlight and show they can be trusted targets. From a coaching perspective, Dan Quinn has consistently emphasized that the preseason is not just about individual reps. It's about evaluating how young players react under pressure, how they respond to live bullets in game-like situations. That's why this joint practice week was so important. Practicing against another team breaks the monotony of camp and creates new challenges. It reveals tendencies, exposes flaws, and gives coaches a better gauge of where players truly stand. Missing that experience is costly, especially for second year. Players like Maggi and Jean-Baptiste, who need to show they're more than just practice players. Even someone like Coleman, though injured, loses a key week of adapting to the guard position under real pressure. There's no simulation that compares to going up against Patriots defenders who aren't taking it easy. These kinds of reps shape the back end of rosters, and without him, it's harder for coaches to make the best decisions. That being said, Quinn remains upbeat, and that calm confidence has been one of the key shifts since his arrival. He's not panicking over a few missed days, and he's not letting injuries, even minor ones, derail the team's overall rhythm. If anything, he sees these situations as opportunities. His message has been consistent. Next man up. For every player sitting out, there's another waiting to prove he belongs. That mindset is how culture shifts happen. It's how teams build depth, create hunger, and find surprise contributors who rise when a number is called. So while the headlines might focus on who's missing, the real story of this week could be who steps up in their place. There's still a preseason game to be played, and with starters expected to sit out most of it, there's a golden window for others to shine. The Commanders fan base, of course, is watching all of this unfold with cautious optimism. On one hand, they've seen the script before. Injuries in preseason turning into nagging issues that drag into the regular season. But this feels a little different. There's more transparency, more intentional rest, and more emphasis on development rather than rushing anyone back. It's a smarter approach. Quinn and his staff know what they're doing, and the goal is to be healthy and ready for week 1, not to win a meaningless August game in Foxborough. That said, fans are still eager to see how the depth performs. There's real competition brewing at several spots, including WR5, backup linebacker, interior O-line depth, and QB3. These roles may seem insignificant, but come October or November, when injuries hit and rotations tighten, the decisions made in August will prove crucial. The Patriots matchup could quietly shape the roster more than we realize now. All things considered, the week ahead remains valuable, even with some absentees. Practices are where a lot of the evaluation happens, but the game reps, even if they're limited, bring another layer of insight. For players like Hartman, Jean-Baptiste, if he returns in time, and Osborne, this is their moment to make noise. For others like Coleman and Maggi, the focus now shifts to getting healthy quickly and returning to the fold before preseason wraps up. The Commanders don't play until week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so there's time. But every day matters and players know it. Whether they're on the field or not, this week could be the difference between earning a roster spot or ending up on the practice squad. Dan Quinn knows it too, which is why even with players missing, the energy remains high, the mission remains clear, and the Commanders move forward with confidence and purpose. Ultimately, this week is a snapshot of what the NFL preseason is all about. It's a reminder that the real battles don't always happen under the lights on game day. They happen in the quiet intensity of practice reps, in the film rooms, in how players respond to setbacks, even minor ones. Missing the Patriots game doesn't spell doom for Coleman, Maggi, or Jean-Baptiste, but it does change the equation. It gives others a shot. It challenges coaches to adapt. It gives fans a glimpse of what this team might look like in its second and third waves of depth. And it reinforces a key truth that Dan Quinn seems to live by. Every moment matters. Whether it's a padded practice in Ashburn or a preseason battle in New England, the building blocks for a successful season are being laid right now. One rep, one decision, one opportunity at a time. And the Commanders, even with a few men down, aren't missing a beat. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Rumors are flying faster than a 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter, and the NFL world is spinning with one of the most unexpected twists of the offseason. Jason Kelce, the legendary center who announced his retirement just months ago with tears in his eyes and a heartfelt goodbye to Philadelphia, might not be done after all. Word is he's packing up the midnight green and slipping into something a little more burgundy and gold. That's right, whispers coming from several. Corners of the league suggest that Jason Kelce has agreed to come out of retirement to join the Washington Commanders. At first, this sounded like one of those crazy internet rumors, the kind that die in a day. But now, sources close to the Commanders organization are saying it's more than speculation. It's a real possibility. And if this is true, this move could send shockwaves through the entire NFC East. Let's just take a second to absorb what that really means. Jason Kelce, the heart and soul of the Philadelphia Eagles' offensive line, a Super Bowl champion, a 6-time All-Pro, a future Hall of Famer, possibly trading in his legacy in Philly to suit up for a division rival. The emotional impact alone is massive. Kelce has been more than just a great player for the Eagles. He's been a cultural icon in that city, beloved for his toughness, his intelligence on the field, and that unmistakable leadership presence in the locker room. The parade speech, the mama's costume, that's the stuff of legend. For him to now be potentially walking into FedEx Field, not as a visitor, but as a commander, that's a storyline worthy of Hollywood, and the Commanders aren't just looking for a name. They're reportedly bringing him in with the idea that he'll start, mentor, and become a central figure in transforming the identity of that offensive line. So how did this all even happen? Just a few months ago, Kelce was saying his body couldn't take another season. He walked away with grace, leaving the game on his own terms after 13 bruising years in the trenches. But retirement can do funny things to a player. Some say it's the silence, the lack of adrenaline, the sudden absence of the brotherhood that pulls them back. Others believe it's the right situation, the perfect storm of need, timing, and opportunity, and that's exactly what might be happening in Washington. The Commanders have a young quarterback to protect, a new offensive-minded coaching staff looking to build from the inside out, and a desperate need for stability at center. And who better to anchor that than Kelce? The word is that new head. Coach Dan Quinn made a personal pitch. He wants leadership, grit, and Super Bowl experience in that locker room. And Kelce checks every single box. Then there's the money. Let's not kid ourselves. No player of Kelce's caliber returns to football without a serious financial incentive. Multiple insiders are claiming that the Commanders offered him a 1-year deal loaded with incentives, possibly making him one of the highest paid centers in the league despite his age. The structure reportedly protects the team if things don't go well, but gives Kelce a chance to cash in big if he can stay healthy and deliver elite play. It's the kind of deal that screams short-term gamble with long-term benefits. Kelce gets one more ride. The Commanders get a pillar in the trenches, and fans get a storyline that will dominate headlines all year long. Already, social media is ablaze with speculation, sightings, and even a few jersey mock-ups that are fueling the fire. Could you imagine that if he's 1-2 in burgundy and gold? It's almost too wild to believe. And what about the Eagles? This kind of move would sting badly. Losing Kelce to retirement was one thing. Fans could accept that. But losing him to a hated rival? That's a different level of heartbreak. It would be like Brian Dawkins going to Denver all over again. Only worse. Because Kelce wasn't just a player in Philly, he was family. His speeches, his heart, his loyalty, they all made him a permanent piece of that city's soul. If he actually suits up for Washington, it's going to cause an emotional earthquake in Philadelphia. Talk radio would explode, fans would burn jerseys, and even though most would wish him well, the betrayal would be felt deep. You can almost hear the callers now. He could have gone anywhere. Why Washington? And that's a question even the most logical minds will struggle to answer. For the Commanders, though, this is a statement of intent. After years of chaos, bad ownership, and inconsistent performances, Washington is trying to turn the page. They want to win now, not 5 years from now. They want to build a team that's tough, smart, and mature. Signing Jason Kelce, if it truly happens, would be a signal that they're done playing around. They want leaders, veterans who know how to win. And Kelce brings more than just experience. He brings an identity. Imagine the impact he'll have in the film room, in the huddle, during practices. He's not just another free agent. He's a culture changer. And for a team that has struggled to find consistency for over a decade, that kind of presence is priceless. Some say he's past his prime. Others say he's exactly what they need. Of course, the big question is his body. Can Kelce still go? He's 37. His knees have taken a beating. The wear and tear of over 180 NFL games is no joke. But anyone who watched him last season knows that he didn't look washed. In fact, he was still playing at an elite level. His quickness, his leverage, his football IQ, all still elite. And maybe that's what made retirement so hard. Maybe deep down, he knew he still had something left in the tank. And now, with a few months off to heal and reset, he's ready to prove it. The Commanders reportedly plan to monitor his reps, carefully use veteran rest days, and limit his preseason snaps. It's all about preserving him for the long haul. Because if he can stay healthy through the grind of the season, he could be the key piece that turns Washington from a question mark into a legitimate playoff threat. Now, let's talk locker room dynamics. Washington has some rising stars on the offensive side. Young linemen, a promising quarterback, explosive weapons. But what they've lacked is a vocal leader in the trenches, someone who commands respect instantly. That's exactly what Kelce provides. And don't underestimate what that means for a team trying to find its identity. Coaches can preach all they want, but when a guy like Kelce speaks, people listen. And his presence alone could accelerate the growth of the entire unit. He's been to the mountaintop. He's battled through losing seasons and come out stronger. That kind of leadership doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but it's invaluable when you're trying to build something sustainable. If he really does join the Commanders, he instantly becomes the heartbeat of that offense. And the fan base? Well, let's just say they're divided. Commanders fans are cautiously optimistic, thrilled by the idea of adding a legend, but unsure how real this all is. Meanwhile, Eagles fans are in disbelief. Say it ain't so is trending among Philly faithful. But one thing's for sure, the NFL world is watching. This potential comeback, this twist, has injected drama, excitement, and a whole new layer of tension into a division that already lives on chaos. If Kelce really shows up in week 1 wearing burgundy and gold, the storylines write themselves. Rivalries will burn hotter. Every snap will carry more weight. And Jason Kelce's legacy will take a turn no one, not even he, saw coming. Retirement may have been the end of a chapter, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't the end of the book. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.